So let's get into this, the lead story there. It's a report obtained by Fox. Here's some of the highlights. You can go and read the details yourself, but here's the highlights. As members of Congress fight over what to cut in the current federal budget to avert a government shutdown, lawmakers are about to receive a blockbuster report that could provide a roadmap to potentially hundreds of billions of dollars in waste. The nonpartisan General Accounting Office is poised to release a report today that one senator said, quote, will make us all look like jackasses. Quote, will make us all look like jackasses. I'll say it again. This is a quote. It says, will make us all look like jackasses. No laughing matter. I think that was from Senator Tom Coburn, Republican of Oklahoma. He also said, another quote from him says, we don't know what we're doing. So, you know, and here's, again, details on foxnews.com, but here's one highlight. The report says, in one example, it found that the Defense Department, that if the Defense Department were to make broader restructuring of its military health care system, it could result in annual savings of up to $460 million. There's more, but in the meantime, let me get your initial reaction to the fallout. Eric and we were all kind of started talking about this in the green room, and we were just talking about how the folks are growing more and more less tolerant of this bipartisan madness and the roadblocks and the stalemates when this kind of stuff is happening.
And the thing is, when this came out, I wasn't shocked. The fact that there is so much duplication and waste, it's only a matter of time until a report like this came out. The thing that really worried me was the disorganization that goes with all of it. One of the things that's in there is our bioterrorism efforts.
Yeah.
And the fact that there is a significant bioterrorism threat to this country has been established by multiple commissions, yet there is so much duplication that no one really knows what's going on in that effort. And this is why Republicans argue against big government. It's because when things get...
let's take, hang on, and I'm not here to defend anybody, but I'm just going to throw this in the mix for conversation's sake. Let's not forget, in 2001, there was a lot of miscues because there are a lot of...
There is miscues, but the problem is...
left hand not knowing what the right hand's doing.
But what happens if we have to react? Tomorrow, for instance. We do not know who's in charge if we had to react tomorrow. And meanwhile, we have, what do we have, 14 presidential appointees?
28.
28. I mean, the amount of money that we are spending just there alone, and we would not know tomorrow if this country had some type of attack, who was in charge with all of that money. I mean, something is wrong with that.
Which at the same time, we certainly don't want to discount the hard work that is going on, because I'm sure there's lots of stuff that's being averted. Just on the record, there are many attacks that are being averted by the people who are working hard.
Absolutely,
and,
absolutely.
So we can't discount everything that's going on.
I didn't mean to.
I know. I just wanted to make sure.
But I think that even all of those people that are involved would say there needs to be a coordination between all of us. We need to know who would be in charge if this country experienced an actual threat.
And my argument is that when you expand government so quickly, you can't expect that there has been a truly strategic understanding of what needs to do to build an organization that's going to be most effective. And the ballooning of the federal government without the time necessary to understand how it needs to grow has led to this sort of disorganization.
Well, because, and here's one of the other topics, of course, that we are going to talk about today, and it's the whole, the Speaker's Lobby adult conversation. John Boehner is on this campaign about having adult conversation. He's now setting sail on an adult conversation tour about American debt, the federal budget deficit, entitlement spending, and efforts to cut money and avoid a potential government shutdown. Kind of goes back to, he said on Fox News Sunday in late January that he thinks it's time for Washington to have an adult conversation with the American people about the big challenges that face us. And sort of what we were saying earlier, that you know, people at home who are struggling because of the loss of income, loss of jobs, completely having to restructure their own budgets, they are saying we've been forced to have these adult conversations a long time ago.
That's exactly right.
So welcome to the party and get it together, folks.
In many homes in this country, at the dining room table, they're having adult conversations, and they've been having adult conversations for years. Yet the people that we're sending to Washington are now beginning to have adult conversations. While I love the descriptor adult conversation, we all get it, because we really do need to understand that we're broke. We need to do something about it. And that is an adult conversation. But to think, I mean, look, even Boehner right now, I don't know. I'm pretty sure he would rather not have control of the incoming freshmen, the Republican freshman, who he probably wanted to have control of in the beginning, and now is trying to distance himself from.
But we kind of knew that was going to happen, didn't we?
We did.
Did you know that, David? Did you think, you know, everybody was sort of wondering how, we're talking mainly about the Tea Partiers, I assume.
Well, yes, in part, sure.
And how they have a more, you know, take it or leave it, no compromise, this is the way it's going to be done, we haven't been here before, but we're going to come here and change these rules. And they're going, whoa, 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 that's great in rhetoric, but it doesn't totally work.
Well, they're also not wedded to D.C. I mean, they're new. They don't necessarily think they're going to spend the rest of their lives there. There's a lot of people in Washington who want to spend the rest of their lives there. The freshmen, they're not wedded to D.C.
What do you say, David?
Yeah, I think that the whole adult conversation thought brings up another point to me, and that's about term limits. You have these freshmen coming in who are not wedded to Washington, as you said, who don't go saying take it or leave it. They don't care if they're reelected, and you see people who are actually willing to study the nitty-gritty of what's in this legislation. When you have elected officials who are trying to retain their seat after 6, 7, 8 terms, they have to spend all of their time fundraising. They have to spend all their time thinking about how they're going to retain power, and they don't get to pay attention to what they've been elected to do. So I think term limits could be a way to make sure that more of our elected officials are thinking carefully about these laws.
I'm not sure if I agree about term limits. I certainly agree that nobody is looking at the nitty-gritty.
No, I asked you if you agree with him on term limits.
No.
Taking a break, it's 10:19 here on the East Coast. We're hitting the headlines. Stick around, we have more in about 2 minutes.